Hello everyone, welcome to the Green-Eyed Ram. I'm Ruthie. For those of you who are returning and for those of you who are new viewers, welcome. And this is my channel. I really clearly have not defined what that channel is. It's a bit about the fiber arts, it's a bit about my life, it's a hodgepodge of a lot of different things. Things I've learned, things I'm thinking about, and things I just want to share with the community in general. So as you may see, if you've been following me for a while, I am not in my normal place for filming. I'm not in my country where I live or have been living. I am not in the home where I would otherwise live. Obviously, because if I'm not in my country, I'm not in my home. So, where am I? Where am I? I am in California, in the area outside of Sacramento, California, and we've been here for a few months now. And let me tell you what's been going on. Okay, let's prelude this with, yes, this is a fiber knitting, crafty channel. However, it's also about my life. So if you're not interested in hearing about my life, maybe we should just scoot forward until I start talking about crafty things. If you are interested in my life and a little bit about who I am as a person, then stay tuned and listen in, because it's been a real adventure. So where do I begin? Let me think. October. In October in Ecuador, there were, how do I describe this? A revolt of the Andean community against the indigenous community, I guess you would say, against the government's decisions on some economic things that would be hardships to them. And they protested, but their method of protesting was rioting and blocking of streets and impassing roads, things like that. And some areas got quite violent. Other areas, they were just peaceful protesters. And I kind of got caught in the middle of it. We were, I have a restaurant, or had a restaurant in El Centro in Cuenca, and my chocolate factory and restaurant were literally in the middle of the protests. And as a result of that, there was a lot of loss, a lot of damage to economically, and there was a lot of problems that came from that, and a lot of fear that came from that, and danger that came from that as a result of these protests, because my husband and the workers were stuck in the middle of that while I was at the farm, and it was pretty scary. And that being said, we had booked flights out of Ecuador because we were heading to California, where I am right now, for doctor's appointments and things for my son, and health issues, and trying to get a few family business things taken care of. So we had previously booked our flight before all of this happened, and there is a video on my channel that shows how we actually ended up getting out, because we got stranded at the airport right when the curfew went into place, and we were blessed enough to be able to be escorted out by the Ecuadorian military. That being said, we get back, things are moving forward, we're doing what we should be doing, and bam, we're slapped with another challenge. This challenge was much more serious. My husband started having chest pain and had to go in for emergency open heart surgery. Gratefully, they were able to do the surgery, and he did not have a heart attack prior to, so the condition of his heart is in good shape, except for they did have to do a valve replacement and 2 bypass grafts. So open heart surgery, lots of pain, lots of problems, lots of complications. He's a diabetic, so add that all to the loop. Wow! So my job is to be there for my family, and that's what I did. I had some great support from friends who came and stayed with me and helped along the way, but it was as you can imagine, the scariest thing we had to go through, we thought he would die. And you have to ask questions that maybe you never asked before or never even discussed, like, how do you want your death celebrated if it happens? Do you want a funeral? Do you want a party? Do you want... I mean, these are questions you actually have to ask that are not part of everyday conversation. And we had those conversations. We had that the night before the surgery. We had time to be able to talk about that, to cry in each other's arms and, you know, pray and put our life in Jehovah's hands. And we did. And it did. And the surgery, end of story, is it was successful and he's recovering. So we are here and he can't fly yet. So we are unable to return to Ecuador to take care of things. That being said, lots and lots of challenges. Our business has had to close. We've found ourselves in a big predicament trying to operate a business from a distance and take care of the things that we needed to, and it's just not reasonable to think about that anymore. So the decision was made. That is a huge burden. Life has been really challenging with one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. It's like the you know, Bible says, you know, you'll only get what you can bear. Well, my shoulders are only so broad. And speaking of broad shoulders, that brings me, what a segue, that brings me into what am I wearing? What am I wearing? This, I'll insert some pictures after to show you it in full because I'm not going to stand up right now. But just so you can see, this sweater pattern is by Kate Davies, and it's called the Buchanan. She completely does it in different colors, different style, multicolors on the top, and I didn't go that route. In fact, what's really interesting was I watched there's a YouTuber called CS Pod. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering your name. She's out of Sweden, and she did a similar sweater, but she also did a sweater for her grandson that was inspired by sunflowers. I happen to have, as I was looking through my stash of different colors, and I really thought the variety of colors that I had enough of that I thought to make a sweater was really inspiring by thinking about sunflowers. So as you can see here, this is part of the pattern. The actual sweater that she makes is without sleeves. It's just a caplet, but I added sleeves. Now the body is made the same way, so I have the band, a green, and that fades into another yarn that is multicolored, and then the yellows that go from that. And then the top, this is a variegated of different blues and greens, and then the golden and blue, and I sort of thought blue sky, orange, yellowy, golden, sunflowers, green grass, and that's the inspiration for this one. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I could have made the collar a little taller. I opted out because I literally didn't have an option for more wool. I have enough to do a few more rows, but then I thought, no, I actually like how it sits because I don't like being confined by a sweater. So I could wear a turtleneck underneath this. I could, you know, comfortably sit in it, and it's 100% merino, and it's just like so warm and cozy and quite thick because it's a worsted weight. So that's what I've made. Brought it, I had started it in Ecuador, had brought it with me. thinking, oh, I'll be able to work on this calmly. No calmness. But it has been a really good distraction. Again, I've talked about how working with my hands during stressful times really is very therapeutic to me, and for many people. In fact, when we got here, I went to a store. It was after the surgery. I went to, I think it was Joann's, and I was walking around, just walking around, and there was a book about being calm through knitting, or the calmness of knitting, something like that. Well, when I saw that book, I just was bawling my eyes out in the middle of Joann's, because literally it is what brings me calm. And when my life has been pretty traumatic the last few months, it's been very therapeutic to pick it up and kind of work on it. The other thing I did was to get some really fun yarn, and I made this awesome toque for my son, which is both a toque, like a beanie, because his head is way bigger than mine, and when I wear it, it's a slouch. So you can just have it come down. It doesn't have to stay up, but it's pretty awesome, and it's made of super thick wool. In fact, I used the wool to make a pom-pom, and it's just awesome. It's fun and cozy, and he likes it, which is always a good thing when you make things for other people. So there's that. Now, I literally just finished this last night, tying in the ends. Really, my least favorite thing out of all creative works is getting rid of the ends. I don't like it, and I think I'm really sloppy at it, so I think that's why I don't like it. So two things on the go here. One is I went to this really cool yarn shop in Sacramento called Rumpelstiltskin. It is Rumpelstiltskin. I wasn't sure if it was a play on words or not, but it is Rumpelstiltskin, and they have amazing yarns there. They had just had a trunk show with a new dyer, and it's called Bay Horse Yarn. This is Bay Horse Yarn. It's hand dyed in Northern California, ethically sourced and muslin-free fibers. It's beautiful. It's a super fine fingering weight. But so, what am I going to do with these things? These are the colors that are really pretty, and these are the colors that I was able to get. I don't think I'm showing you very well. Anyways, but there, maybe. Yeah, can you see them? All a variety of dark blue, light blue, cream. This one's kind of fun because it's got some speckles in it that, you know, also blue and orange speckles throughout it, and that'll make for a neat contrast against these two colors here, the golden and blue. It's pretty close. There was a sample pattern there that's called Starting Point by Joji Locatelli. Hopefully I said her name right. And I'll insert a picture of what they made, and my goal is to copy that. So I was able to purchase the wool to replicate that beautiful shawl. It'll be really, really pretty when I get going on it. So that's my next project. Along with, now I've knitted socks on double pointed needles, but while I was there, at, I think it was Hobby Lobby or something, which I never have been in before, which is amazing, has lots of stuff. There's the sock loom, it's called, the sock loom. Now you can see you can adjust, it's adjustable, so depending on how wide you need it. I've never used a sock loom. I bought it because I thought it would be fun, and it shows you here how you wrap and go. It reminded me of when I was a little girl. There used to be these dolls, these kind of looked like little Russian dolls with pins coming out of their head, and I don't know what those are called, but it made like an I-cord. It made a little cord. I'd spend hours playing with that, making cords. I don't know that I did anything with them, but I like the process. So this is the bigger version, it would appear. So I bought some really nice sock weight yarn called Must Be Merino Bright Blue, and it is 50% merino, 25% acrylic, and 25% nylon. And it's a really pretty, let's see, blue. Can you see it? There. And I thought that'd make some great socks for my son, Logan. So that's the goal. And maybe I can teach him how to play with the thing too, as soon as I figure out how to do it. What else? What else? What else? Oh, as you can tell, the hair. So it's been months, and it's getting really long. And I don't think I've had my hair this long in forever. And 2 reasons why it's long. Well, here, see, I like doing that. It's kind of neat. 2 reasons why I like it long and why it is long is I don't trust anyone to cut my hair. I've had bad experiences with hairdressers, and when I find one, I stick with them. When I find one, they are the only person who can cut my hair. I know, probably a little weird, but let me tell you a story about when I had my hair cut really short and really badly. After I got the haircut, I wasn't all that unimpressed with it. It was really, really, really short. But I pulled up into a gas station and the person came to my window and said, "Can I help you, sir?" Yeah, that was sad. That was really sad. So since that moment, I am really careful about who cuts my hair, and I have to trust them, and I have to know that they know what they're doing. And then when I find a good one, I go back to the same one, and my same one lives in Ecuador right now. And the other one that I know of that I could trust lives way up north in California, and I'm hours away from where she is. So the hair is growing and growing and growing, and this is the gray that I got and the gray that I'm working with, and that's how it is for now. So that's that. What else can I tell you? Let's see. What have I been reading lately? I have been listening to, so this author, this amazing storyteller, her name is Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Yeah, I think. I love her voice. I love her ability to tell a story. She's a psychoanalyst and I think she deals in trauma, but she's written a number of books. One is called Women Who Run with Wolves, and the other is Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype. She is an amazing, amazing storyteller and thinker and inspiration. She fosters inspiration and creativity in people in the way that she writes. I feel as though it's really directed towards women. However, she also, prefaces that with everybody can benefit by learning and applying the same principles. But it is mostly directed towards women and our inner power and our ability to influence others and to be a good source of power, and to be a good source. How would I describe it? to be a good spiritual guide, or someone who can set the example for others in all that we do, who that we are, and how we can apply our life experiences and learn from them and grow from them and be empowered by them to be to 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 be valuable on this earth to others. In that it's not about being showy or I know so much I need to portray this on others. But as women, if we can for a moment take the things that we've learned and the pain that we felt and the scars that we have and use them to be stronger and to learn and grow from, as opposed to be broken down by, we can make a difference by our life, by every step in our life, by the other women who we are exposed to, where or daughters or nieces or women in the world that we are interacting with, and being there for them, to help them, to support them, as well as to recognize that we as beings have purpose and power and can really connect with who we are and who we can be, both in our everyday life and in our creative life, and never letting those experiences direct us in a way that isn't progressively moving us forward to develop our own sense of spirituality, our own sense of worth, our own sense of being. And she uses stories, fables, she uses her ability to tell stories and analyze them to teach really pertinent messages that all of us can benefit by and be empowered from. So I've been listening to her, and she has the kind of voice, tones and accents that when you read a good book, you're taken off into that direction of the story. It goes up and it's developed, and the power of it is there. Her voice does that as she reads and as she speaks and as she teaches, and I find myself just mesmerized by it and wanting to just hear that and nothing else in my quiet. So when I'm able to take that moment where the rest of the family is asleep or resting or recovering, and I can just be quiet, in go the headset, and I just listen. And sometimes I mean it, sometimes I just listen. And I think every woman should really hear what she has to say, because she really is empowering. More than that, I can't get into the details of her stories. I would be butchering them if I was to rehash them. But the stories are things that have been passed down and through her community, through her family. And some of her stories are actually, fables that have been written. Others are stories of her experiences. And one in particular stands in mind about a man, her neighbor, as I'm looking at this fence. She had a vine that would climb over and it would climb around, and the neighbor didn't like these big flowers that it would produce, these big trumpet flowers that would fall on his side of the fence. And he chopped it and chopped it, and she talks about how that vine and its beauty and how it struggled in the ground, and how even though it got chopped and destroyed by the neighbor, it came back, and it came back with huge flowers and more growth and more power. And we are the same. We can come back from problems and events and trauma and be stronger for it. And that's just an example. And you really have to hear her tell the story to really benefit by it. but I mentioned that to share with you because I think her Clarissa Pincolas Estes is an author and something that I think every woman should listen to. It will touch your heart and mind and build you up, and we all need that. Okay, so what else? What else? What else? Anything else? Let me see. I can't think of anything else. I think that's it for now. I'll keep trying to get back to videoing. The future has an open door for us. I'm not quite sure where it's going to take us, so stay tuned. We will be returning to Ecuador, and after that, lots of things are in the works, so we'll see what happens when we get there. Right now, I send my love and best wishes to all of you, and may you find your own inner strength every day, because you're worth it, and you are awesome. See you next time.